More Houston Morning News with Matt Patrick now.
KTRH News Time is 8:16, and joining us is Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott. Mr. Abbott, welcome to Houston's Morning News. Thanks for taking the time this morning.
My pleasure, Matt. Great to be with you.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Abbott. We did here in the state of Texas what the state of Arizona and the state of Utah seemed unable to do, and that's get a conviction. Life in prison for Warren Jeffs, the head of the FLDS. Why do you think we were able to do it here in the great state of Texas and they couldn't do it in Arizona and Utah?
Well, we had a great team effort that began with the investigation led by the Texas Rangers. The CPS helped gather information, and then our office, our investigators and lawyers were able to prosecute it. But we had access to information that other states did not when we accessed the information that was at the YFZ compound in Schleicher County, which is just south of San Angelo. We got the tapes that were played in court. We had access to DNA evidence that others have not had access to. The problem in prosecuting these cases in the past is that there is no one, and I mean no one, who is willing to testify about this. None of the victims, none of the families, no one in the FLDS sect is willing to testify whatsoever. So we had to piece this evidence together from these documents, from the DNA, and finally we had access to sufficient information that we could convince a jury about the dastardly deeds that were done by Warren Jeffs.
You know, Attorney General Greg Abbott joining us here this morning. There are still a lot of people in this cult, and I'm going to call it a cult because that's exactly what it is. And do you feel that they know, Lois Melkonian, our news anchor, asked this question earlier of Carolyn Jessup, who escaped from there. Do you feel they know in the compound what has taken place?
I feel like they are beginning to know, but with the quick background, and that is that information about what goes on in the general world is generally shielded from the people within the compound. Mm-hmm. Because of what's happened over the last couple of years, I think they're beginning to find out, because Warren Jeffs is actually the 8th person we've convicted of crimes out at the YFZ ranch. There are several more to go. And you can't lose that many of the leaders out there without realizing that something has gone wrong here. Something has changed. And even now members of the FLDS are trying to distance themselves from Warren Jeffs, saying, no, that's not the way we do things around here. Right. So I think that word will begin to permeate throughout the ranch and throughout the compound that, yes, something bad has happened and they have to change their ways.
Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott joining us here this morning. And Attorney General, if you would hang on 1 second here. When we come back, I want to talk about the children and the children that are still left and where we go from here and how to protect them. That's coming up. But first, let's take a look at traffic and weather together.
Now, back to Matt and your morning news.
KTRH News Time is 8:22, and joining us this morning on Houston's Morning News, Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott. And Mr. Abbott, thanks for taking the time this morning. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
Let me say this first of all. Congratulations for getting this done. After watching this and just being horrified, I know we all are. Tell me about the two underage girls that were the focus of this investigation and really the focus of this trial. It was very difficult to listen to Jeff's instructing them on how to please him sexually, and the other kids that are still left in the FLDS. I mean, what can we do to help them? Anything?
Well, one of the girls who was, first of all, Jess was convicted of sexual assault of 2 minors. One was a 12-year-old girl. The other was a 14-year-old girl who gave birth to Jeff's child at the age of 15. Mm-hmm. And it was that person where we were able to establish the DNA connection. On the 12-year-old, there was an audio tape played at trial that the jury had to listen to of Jeff's having sex with this 12-year-old. And it caused the jury to tear up, and some began to cry because they were just so disgusted by what they heard on that tape. These then children are now both of age. They and other victims at the compound, some are still at the compound, some are out of the compound. But those who remain in the compound, based upon all the information that we have, they are free from the attackers who've been removed, who most of whom are in jail and in prison now. others who've been removed from the compound into other states.
Are you confident that this won't happen again? I mean, can you sleep at night knowing that there's kids in there? And I know this isn't on you. I'm not laying this at your feet, but I mean, my God, I'm listening to you talk, and I just want to go in there and round them all up and take them out of there.
Well, you can never be confident that sexual assault is not going to happen because, look, the reality in Houston today, there's going to be sexual assaults of, unfortunately, kids in Harris County today, and we don't know where and whom it's going to happen to. What we can do is ensure that by aggressive investigation and prosecution, we will root out and prosecute the wrongdoers. The important application of that here, and that is that, for one, we still have 3 more men that we're going to be prosecuting, and we have an ongoing investigation with the possibility of many more prosecutions down the road. We will keep our investigation going until we can eliminate all wrongdoers at that compound.
Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott joining us this morning. And Mr. Abbott, I want to thank you for your time. Keep up the great work, my friend.
Thank you, Matt.